This is a good book. Epictetus's Discourses. If you're a new agency owner, you're getting started or you're in that early stage, I'm going to read you something that I need you to understand. Reflect on what every project entails in both its initial and subsequent stages before taking it up. Otherwise, you will likely tackle it enthusiastically at first, since you won't have given thought to what comes next. But when things get difficult, you'll end up quitting up the project in disgrace. You want to win at the Olympics, so do I, who doesn't? It's a glorious achievement, but reflect on what's entailed both now and later before committing to it. You have to submit to discipline, maintain a strict diet, abstain from rich foods, exercise under compulsion at set times in weather, hot and cold, refrain from drinking water or wine whenever you want. In short, you have to hand yourself over to your trainer as if he were your doctor. And then there are digging contests to endure. And at times you'll dislocate your wrist, turn your ankle, swallow quantities of sand, be whipped, and end up losing all the same. Consider this, and if you still want to go, then give athletics a go. If you don't pause to think though, you'll end up doing what children do, playing at wrestler 1 minute, then gladiator, then actor, then musician. And you're an athlete now, next to gladiator, an orator, a philosopher, but nothing with all your heart. You're like a monkey who imitates whatever it happens to see, infatuated with one thing after another. You haven't approached anything attentively, or thought things through. Your approach to projects is casual and capricious. I'm currently in Marbella, and this is where you can be. I don't know if you can see this here? It's a beautiful, beautiful villa. I'm not going to do a villa tour or anything like that, because if you've been watching me for any period of time, you'll know that that's not what this channel is about. But this channel is all about chapter 29 in page 233 of Discourses by Epictetus. We can learn a lot from this chapter, and if you're a new agency owner or you're beginning, you need to read this and understand it. When you start a business, things are exciting. It's enticing, it's exciting, and you get lust for the shiny object that is SMMA. Now, maybe SMMA isn't your first business. Maybe you've tried dropshipping or Amazon FBA, or maybe you've had an OnlyFans agency, I don't know. But businesses and niches and services, these are projects, as Epictetus calls them here. And if you don't stick to them, they won't bear fruit. Now, I need to tell you something. As you progress through your journey as an SMMA owner or a business owner in this online space, the going is going to get pretty rough. There are going to be times that you want to quit. There's going to be things that you do that you don't want to do. The business will require more of you at times than you think you can give. If you don't accept this fact now, and if you don't get it clear in your mind, in your brain, that it's going to be hard, you're going to struggle and you're probably going to fail. The road to success with SMMA is paved with the blood of people who gave up. If you take 10 people and they all start an agency, 3 of them will get their first client, 1 of them will get to 10 grand a month. And then you have to take 100 before you can see how many people get to 100 grand a month. The success rate is low, and people think it's high because all you see is the success. When you look at my channel or other people's channels, you see villas like this and you see views like this, right? And you think to yourself, oh, all I am is 6 months of work away from that happening. And unfortunately, that really isn't true. It takes way more than that. Now, if we read back to this bit, starting an agency or business is like becoming an athlete. And as you can see here in this text, you want to win at the Olympics, so do I. Who doesn't? It's a glorious achievement, but reflect on what's entailed both now and later before committing to it. So when you start an agency, when you start a business, like what is required of you now is pretty simple. Oh, I'll think of the name and I'll design the website, and I'm gonna create my Google Workspace account, and I'm gonna create my logo, and I'm gonna join some groups. But you know that what's required later is something you don't want to do, because if it was something you wanted to do, you'd have already done it. And so what will happen to people is the first week of agency life for people who do it in the wrong way is really easy. I'm telling you now that when you start an agency, if your work feels easy and effortless, you're doing everything wrong because you're doing the wrong things. When I started my first business when I was 18 years old, I didn't really have this knowledge, and so I came very close to quitting, but fortunately enough, I didn't, otherwise I wouldn't be here now. I mean, you can hear the sea in the background, you've seen the view and everything. I'm just sat here, I'm here for 10 days, me and my business partner were like, fuck it, we're just gonna go to Marbella. We haven't got much work to do at the moment. Calendars are quite empty for us because we've got a team and it's all systemized, and we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month without us having to do any work. And to most people, that isn't the ideal life, right? And I'm telling you, once you get there, it's not as fun as you think, and I'll explain that in another video. But if you're not prepared and willing and able to accept that hard work is going to come, you're really going to be in some trouble. The funny thing about this is the hard work comes when you get to 10 grand a month, and all that happens is skills develop, right? So when you get to 10K a month, like 0 to 10K a month is sales, right? Sales, and then also learning systems for service delivery. So if you're wondering like what skill, because really if you think about the success of an agency, it's just you are the agency at the beginning, right? And so what you need to do is stack the skills required to be successful. And so going from 0 to 10K a month, there's really 3 skills involved. The first skill is sales. And I mean sales from, it sort of branches out into 2 forms of sales. So you've got actual closing, and you've got appointment booking. So you have this one pillar, 10K a month pillar, sales. The second thing is service delivery. Now, service delivery isn't really a skill because it's not as quantifiable, if that makes sense. But you need to learn how to understand the psychology of your customers, clients, and potential prospects. And you need to understand how to market to them and craft a service that adds value to that business. And that is a skill. The third skill is your mind. And this is the hardest part of this whole thing. Because an athlete needs to learn, let's say you want to become a professional rower, right? The athlete needs to learn the skill of the actual rowing itself. The athlete needs to learn the skill of breathing. The athlete needs to learn the skill of diet. But the main thing they need to learn how to do is control their impulses in their mind. And that is what you will struggle with the most. Because if you think about it, how do you learn sales? Well, you do lots of sales calls. How do you learn appointment booking? You send lots of emails. But that's the doing it is the kind of the easy part. But getting yourself to do it is the hard part, if that makes sense. When you get to 10 grand a month, the next skill will be, it kind of comes down to 2 more skills. So 10 grand to 50 grand or 100 grand a month, right? Given 10 to 100, 2 more skills are required. Team building and management. So you could just call that the skill of team, right? Or culture. Because then the team thing spreads out into a couple of things. It spreads out into hiring, managing, and building a culture. So you then have this sort of tree over here, 10 to 100 grand a month that. And then you also have accounting. So if you don't understand accounting and numbers and profit loss and how to keep your margins high and create efficient businesses and operate the business effectively, then it won't work. And so you don't need to worry about the team thing, and you don't need to worry about the accounting thing. Now, obviously you need to keep a log of your books and everything, but the truth is that you don't need to know how to invest money. You don't need to know how to manage money when you're making like less than 6 figures. It really baffles me how people who are making like 6 grand a month want to learn how to invest, because there's not enough leverage in that cash for you to bother investing. There's more leverage and opportunity leverage in you learning how to make the money and make more money, like 10x your income, and then start thinking about investing. Because there's no point spending all of your time learning how to invest 6K, because if you take all that time and energy, you can learn how to make 60K, and then you can learn how to invest. And investing is very simple. Obviously, it's a skill you have to develop, and it's one that I'm trying to develop and learn, and it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot easier when you've got capital and when you haven't got anything to lose, right? Because if you make 10 grand a month and you're trying to invest, the thing that will screw you around the most is you're worried about losing the money because you haven't got enough of it, right? So I wanted to make this quick video. I know it's just more of a mindset rant style thing that might not be particularly valuable. There's no shiny object, but it made me laugh at the end when I was reading this, because it reminded me of a lot of people in this space, where it says, if you don't pause to think though, you'll end up doing what children do, playing wrestler 1 minute, then gladiator, then actor, then musician. And you're an athlete now, next to gladiator and orator, a philosopher, but nothing with all your heart. And so this speaks to the person that goes from, like, they try and do dropshipping for 3 months and it doesn't work. Then they try and do Amazon FBA for three months and it doesn't work. Then they try and do high ticket sales for a month and it doesn't work. Then they try and do SMMA for a couple of months and it doesn't work. Then they try and do fucking, God forbid, NFTs for a couple of months and it doesn't work. Like, the reason it hasn't worked is because they haven't stuck at it for long enough. And so I'm here to tell you that if you want to start and build an agency, you must commit to doing this for 3 to 5 years at least. When you give it that amount of time frame, it allows you to relax and actually accept the fact that you're in this for the long run. But a lot of people are what I would call, and what Epictetus would call, children. You know how you see kids where they're like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. And then like you ask them next day what they want to be when they grow up, and they say an influencer. And then the next day you ask them, they want to be a musician, right? That's how most people behave, is it's childish. You haven't approached anything attentively. It's just like you've done nothing with all your heart. So just some food for thought. It's the same with the niche, right? If you're I see people who like they stick to SMMA, but then they don't stick to a niche. And so they start SMMA and then they're like, okay, I'm going to do gyms. And then after 2 months, 3 months, they're like, okay, I'm going to do electricians. And after 2 to 3 months, I'm going to do chiropractors. Oh, that doesn't, I'm going to do e-com. It's like picking a niche is like picking a business model. You have to just accept the fact you're going to stick with it for years and years. Now, do you have to marry it forever? No. Will I be running the company I'm running now forever? No. Will I be in the niche I'm in now forever? No. Will I be making content for this audience forever? No. Right? There will come a time when a better opportunity that allows me to leverage my time and energy better comes along, that then I will go all in on that for years and years and years. And then will I be doing that forever? Maybe not. Who knows? Right? But if you're not giving something your all, then you can't have this. Right? If you want to, like, a couple of things that you can start to do when you become successful, like just one example is removing all the alarms from your phone. You don't have to wake up to an alarm. You don't have to answer to anyone. Like, it's like being an Olympian and winning. It's fucking brilliant. It's really good. But this, and where I'm sat now, is the result of 8 years of hard work. 8 years. Most people give it 8 weeks and give up. People see the lifestyle, and this is why I'm not going to make a villa tour or anything of that nature, because people see the lifestyle and they see the cars and they see the watches and they see the shiny objects, and then they look at the business that person's running, but what the person who's running the business doesn't show them or doesn't tell them is that it's taken them 5 years to actually build that wealth. And if you're comparing yourself to, let's say because I'm 25, right? So let's say you're 25 and you're down on your luck and you're not making any money, really unsuccessful. I would invite you to ask yourself when you started business and how long you stuck to one thing for. I had a friend of mine message me the other day. He's also a YouTube influencer. I don't like the word influencer, but he does YouTube in the SMMA space. And he sent me a message and he said, Charlie, like, I'm really frustrated. I've got a similar size like audience to you and a couple of other people in the space. You're making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, as is this other person, and I'm not. And it really frustrates me and I'm really annoyed about it and I'm really upset and I don't know how to monetize my audience better. I don't know how to do this. And I said to him, dude, look, like, we might have similar audiences, but as I'm sure you're aware, audience does not signify competence, right? And I said to this guy, I said, look, man, what you've got to realize is me and this other person who he was comparing himself to, we've been in business for 8 years. The other person, 10 years, nearly a decade of experience. He's been doing it for 8 months, right? And so just because you've got a similar audience or because you're of a similar age to someone, if you compare how long you've stuck to the same thing or stuck to one thing for, it's probably the difference is night and day. So I've got friends of mine who I haven't spoken to for a long time, and they say, oh, Charlie, like, how do you make all this money? I wish I could do the same. Like, you're so young, like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and that's not me trying to virtue signal and tell you how amazing I am. It's just, it's a fact, right? I make a lot of money. But when I talk to these people, I'm like, well, I just stuck to one thing and one niche and one business and solved one problem for like 5 years. And then they're like, oh, my business is not successful. I'm like, well, how long have you been doing that one business for? Oh, like 5 months, 5 weeks. Impatience is the death of anything, okay? So I just wanted to read this little passage to you and give you my thoughts on it. I'd recommend you read this book. It's not light reading, it's quite heavy. And the prose used is quite, not archaic, but it can be a bit, it's not very natural to read from the self-help books that you're probably used to. But I'd recommend you check it out because it's helped me. So I wanted to make this video because most people don't know what to do when it comes to this stuff. They think about the next 3 months, not about the next 3 years. And there's an element of truth where, like, you can't, when you go into business for the first couple of months, like, you can't really think about the next 3 years because you're so concerned and wrapped up in the day or the week. But just give it your all for like 3 years, and trust me, like, it will happen. You'll get what you want. If you like this video, like it. If you want more clients, click the first link in the description. Have a good day.